Yes, I'm your host, Stratton Brown. I interview successful entrepreneurs from around the world to see what moves they've made in their lives to get successful and, more importantly, stay successful. I'm here to make sure you can create a better life for you and your family. Let's tune in.
Welcome to the Winning Move Podcast. Oh man, Mike, your camera's so nice, dude.
Black magic, baby, black magic.
We have my good friend on for my favorite show of the week, the weekly financial update, the man who gives me all the financial news. There's a couple things going on. Well, there's always good stuff going on. But thanks for coming on, Mike.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I love these conversations because it allows me to look back, right? I look at the financial news 7 days a week. So these Friday conversations let me kind of piece it all together.
So the big things I wanted to talk about that I wrote down, the Sheryl Sandberg stepping down. I don't know if you've talked about that at all.
I have a little bit. Yep.
What are your thoughts on that? What do you think that does to Facebook's stock?
So again, Sheryl Sandberg, for those who don't know, is the COO of Facebook/Meta. She's been there.
Can you talk straight, Mike?
Yeah,
I gotta have you talking to the camera so we can cut it up for you.
All right. Let me move the microphone. So Sheryl Sandberg is the COO of Facebook/Meta. She's been there 14 years. She's often quoted as being the adult in the room, right? She's, I don't know, let's call her 15, 20 years older than Mark Zuckerberg.
And not the devil.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways. So the question is why? Now, she's obviously a billionaire, right? She sold $1.8 billion in stock in the last 2 years, and she probably sold stuff before that. So, A, she could just be leaving because she's not challenged. She's bored. You know, if you guys don't know, Sheryl Sandberg unfortunately lost her first husband tragically a couple of years ago. Like, they were on vacation and he keeled over while running on a treadmill. Just out of nowhere, massive heart attack, dead before he hit the ground. So it's possible that she could be leaving for all the right reasons. She realizes she's got 40 years or so left of her life. She's got billions of dollars. She truly wants to make it about philanthropy. That's the message they gave. I will admit that's possible. However, I've been doing this a long time and think it's unlikely, but possible.
People like her don't do that, though. Like, it's unlikely, but people who are her and have the personality type, that's just not what's going to happen.
Not likely. But again, given her, like, I'm telling you, your significant other keeling over out of nowhere, that's got to mess you up at some level. So I will admit that is possible. Not likely. I think we'll know, right? I think if she's a CEO or founder of another company by December 1st, we'll know something. Because that will just mean she wants to try her own thing. She's tired of working with Mark. She feels like she's not showing her best efforts. We'll see.
She's never gonna be given the CEO spot because Zuckerberg doesn't want to give it up. And I feel like someone like that eventually is going to get tired of always playing second fiddle.
I think that is probably the most likely. But we'll know by December 1st, right? If she's still like this time next year, you know, okay, great. She's going to give away $1 billion, and I hope she makes a difference. I think she'll be the CEO of something by December 1st.
So here's my prediction. She's going to be the CEO of Twitter and take Twitter's the same thing she did with Google, same thing she did with Facebook. She's going to do it with Twitter, turn Twitter completely around and turn that into another really, really profitable ad business. That's what I think is going to happen. I
had not put that together, but if she does that, I actually might. Oh, actually, Twitter will probably be private, but if it's still public, I might buy the company. Buy the stock.
Right. I mean, that makes the most sense. Elon would hire on because he doesn't want to run.
Never even thought about that. That is awesome. Yeah.
Because she changed Google's ads and then she changed Facebook ads, the number 1 and number 2 advertisers on the planet. Elon knows, hey, here's the person who I know can do it. This person needs the spot. So it only makes sense to me that that's where she goes. I hope that.
Stratton, that is a genius move that I had not put together. I think that would be cool to watch.
Right. You did talk about, so who was it, Chase Bank CEO who said there's a hurricane coming, and then Bank of America was like, yeah, nah, bro.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. So there are two CEOs. One I respect, one not so much.
Which one don't you respect and why?
Brian Moynihan, Bank of America CEO, I think he talks his book, right? Every time he talks, it's always kind of good news because he's trying to talk up whatever's going on, right? Because he knows if he says something bad, it just ripples through the organization. Jamie Dimon doesn't care. And I respect that. Okay. CEO is going to say bad news is bad news and good news is. I hate people that say bad news is good news and good news is good news. And I think that's Brian. And again, as a CEO, that's probably his job. I don't expect that. Jamie Dimon, bad news is bad news. Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. I was a sales leader for a long time, and bad news never gets better with age. So I respect bad news because I can deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm pretending bad news is good news. It drives me batshit crazy. So Jamie Dimon, a week ago, this is important. Jamie Dimon a week ago said, folks, bad news. We have some storm clouds on the horizon.
Exactly.
Right? You know, it's gonna be choppy times. And then 6 days later, 4 business days later, he says, folks, those aren't storm clouds. Those are the front end of a hurricane. Buckle up. Get ready now. I'm like, that'll make you pucker up a little bit. Never lived through a hurricane, but I got to tell you, it doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun.
So what has he implied what he thinks is going to happen?
Well, yeah.
I just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, he has basically said, if you read the article, the transcript, he basically said, first and foremost, the consumer has only got 6 months of savings less. This mysterious $1 trillion that all these people are talking about, he's like, doesn't exist. A couple of rich people got money and they're skewing the numbers. The consumer is much weaker. The Fed is not stopping. We got a great jobs number today to boot. The Fed's going higher. Oh, by the way, we've got quantitative tightening. And oh, by the way, we've got a war and food is jumping off a cliff. He's like, what are you guys not paying attention? This is about to get bad.
Yeah.
So he said a lot of things.
Okay. Awesome. What other big news do we have this week?
Well, you got to talk about Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk today coming out.
Oh, that's the next thing I want to talk about.
Dude, he's got a bad feeling. Right? Elon Musk has got to be getting daily updates about supply issues, demand. Now he's whacking 10% of Twitter's Tesla's headcount. That doesn't make you feel good, right? If you're in Tesla stock, are you feeling better or worse today?
One
Not
thing that I
good.
heard, right? Not good. And one thing that I heard, because I respect him for saying, hey, everybody's coming the fuck back to the office.
Yeah,
like
his whole pretend to work somewhere else. Yeah.
But then I don't even know who I was listening to, and they're like, you know what? It's an easy way to do layoffs because they don't have capacity for all the people to come back, and so like, yeah, there's just no space. You can leave.
Well, no,
so
he was basically pissing people off so he doesn't pay severances, right? If you quit,
exactly.
He doesn't have to give you 3 months of severance or whatever he's going to give. Absolutely, of course.
And so you think, so Tesla stock should be going down.
I can tell you. Give me a couple. I would guess it's down 4 or 5% today. We can tell in a minute because I like to look. Oh, it's down. Oh, 8, almost call it 9%. It's down 9% today.
What's funny is that it's not even where most of his money is. Most of his money is in SpaceX. Well, his wealth.
Yeah. Well, I think his liquidity is all from Tesla. His wealth maybe in SpaceX.
Yeah, his wealth is in like SpaceX is because they have such big government contracts. Is really big, and then liquidity is in Tesla.
Yeah, because he owns those shares. Yeah, they're liquid.
What other big news happened this week?
Well, the jobs number came out today.
The
biggest news for real estate investors and really stock market investors. There's a hope, and I've talked to a couple of my stock guys on my channel. They're hoping September that the Fed pauses, right? 50 in July, 50 in June, 50 in July, September pause. I think that hope just went out the window. The jobs number, which is jobs created in the month of May, came in at 390,000, way above expectations, even higher than I expected. Wages up 5.2% annualized. Unemployment rate still 3.6%. Folks, the job market is still on fire, and the Fed can't pause. The Fed has to break the market. This notion of a soft landing is a marketing spiel. They have to cause a recession. And right now, like Jamie Dimon says, we probably get through the rest of the year, but we got a recession coming next year. I agree. So yeah, buckle up.
So the job market's still hot. So I mean, what's crazy to me is we can go into a recession and then it's only like a 3% unemployment rate.
Well, here's the deal, right? Most people don't really understand this, but the job market, specifically the unemployment rate, bottoms at the start of recessions. Because
Okay.
as a recession goes on, you lay off more, the job market comes up. So you can go back and look at the last 7 or 8 recessions. Unemployment bottoms at the start of a recession.
Unemployment bottoms at the start of a recession. And then, so when you say bottoms, it goes to it's like 2% or whatever.
Yeah, it goes to the whatever the low end is. And then as the recession starts, layoffs happen and the job number goes up. Unemployment goes up.
Okay.
Which is what we have in the future, right? We already have companies talking about hiring freezes. We're going to next hear about open recs being closed. And then we're going to hear about layoffs.
I feel like this is more of like a stock market recession than anything, though. Like big.
Well, that's where it starts.
That's. I still don't see anything really changing in the housing market besides it's just not insane anymore.
No, I've been calling for a housing slowdown, and we are in it. I'm even now calling a housing crash in transactions, not in price. It's price. Median price isn't going to move down.
No.
At least this year. We'll talk about next year. But yeah, people talking about a housing crash in prices don't understand the housing market. It doesn't move that fast. We're already in June, right? Contracts signed today don't close till August. I mean, it's just the year's almost over.
But we have a couple deals that we have not been able to move, and they're in Fresno, to where generally anything in Fresno we can command top dollar and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
To where for the last 2 weeks, to where it would be just light on fire bidding war, to where it's been crickets at a price that we thought would move pretty easily.
Yeah, the market's changing, man. I'm telling you, slowdown's real.
Yeah, so for sure a slowdown. And Pace put out a video today to where he was like, yeah, we have like 5 on the market that are still on the market that over the last year and a half would never be on the market this long.
Slowdown is real. Keep telling people it's coming. It's here.
I mean, it's here. But I mean, still, whatever. I hold it for 60 days now instead of holding it for a day.
Exactly.
That's all it is. I don't see.
Yeah. Well, for a guy like you got to manage your holding costs, right? Because you were probably in the past, you would, your holding cost is 3 weeks. Now you've got 90 days. Some people, not you, but some people out there, their holding costs will eat them alive, and they'll actually end up losing money.
Yeah, if you don't have that prepared, that'll absolutely destroy you.
That's what happened last time. The people that got destroyed were the ones that tried to over leverage. Everything was laddered up 100%, and it was always hard money. They just went broke because they couldn't carry it. It would eventually sell, but they could never get to the finish line.
Exactly. Well, the best thing I ever heard is you could make $1 million and still go bankrupt in a year because your cash flow isn't right.
That is so important what you just said. You could be a profitable company. You could have an amazing net worth, and you can go broke because your cash flow is off. So well said.
Because that's the hardest part, especially with like wholesaling. With our VA company, it's a little bit. We created that for cash flow because it's like more monthly recurring revenue. Or even with wholesaling, dude, like it's still ebbs and flows. Things come in groups. To where, yeah, you could be doing one big deal, but if these people are focusing on one big deal, you could go bankrupt month 8, and then the big deal is supposed to close month 11, and it's over. And that big deal is going to be $2 million.
Yeah, we will have less flippers and less wholesalers in 6 months, and we'll have less agents, frankly. It's just
everyone's
people don't prepare. Yeah, it's crazy.
Have we seen an influx? So over the last couple of years, we have not seen new wholesalers coming into our market, though. If you think about it, like people who like come in and actually do something.
There's been lots of people that have tried. Maybe they got a deal because of this or that, but nobody is stuck. Yeah, the wholesalers that I still communicate with and follow, it's the kind of the same guys from 2 years ago. That's a good point.
Right. I mean, because generally you'll have 1 or 2 people come in, they stick, they do business, and they're there for a while because like obviously we meet all of them. Mm-hmm. But over the last like year or 2. There has been no one new who's come in and like laid a foundation and then actually like stuck in it.
No, it's hard. It's hard. It's a hard business.
It is hard. It's a hard business, but generally, so it was me and Michael Butler and Kyle were the ones who came into our space like 3-4 years ago. And then after that, I mean, so Carlos is a newer guy.
Hmm.
But like in our community, like there just hasn't been that many new people, at least who we meet, who
Yeah.
make
Maybe
the
they're
full
out
hire.
there, but yeah, maybe they're remote or virtual ones, but who knows? I haven't seen a deal from a wholesaler in 8 months. Well, I haven't bought a deal in like a year.
Yeah, I mean but for you it doesn't make sense. You can have the patience. But I don't the one thing to where I think like so Jason got really rewarded was that he just kept buying to where I mean millions off of refinances alone. Just from being
Yeah,
the only person operating in a blue ocean during that period of time.
I suspect he has no money in any of his deals. I think he's taken it all out. So good for him.
Yeah, no, he's
And still
taking
cash flows.
cash flows better. Bought deals that no one else was buying, so there's no bidding war. He's like, yeah, I'll take it. And so he had all the leverage. And then, like again, like I said, millions of dollars in refinances to where now he's really capitalized where he doesn't really have to buy anything for the next year or so. Then he can throw down again.
Good for him.
What other big news did we have?
Yeah, I think it's acknowledge that the real estate slowdown is here. Get excited. I'm more excited for the next 2 years than the last 2 years. I think the people that run a tight ship, run a business, are going to do really well. Creative financing, seller financing, pre-foreclosures. It's not going to be about how fast you are and do you have cash. I think the creative investors will win the next 2 years.
Without a doubt. I'm trying to think of any other parting words. I'm making my call. Cheryl's going to go to Twitter. I'm making that call, and I'm sticking with
it. I think that would be such a great chess move. I didn't see it coming, so I give you full credit. I think that's genius.
And she will be, and this will be her first time. She's CEO of a company. It's her ship. She gets to decide what goes on.
Yeah, she'll probably throw down some money. She'll probably chip in, so she's got real skin in the game.
Yeah, chip in, have real skin in the game, and then absolutely take that thing to the moon because Twitter has no way of, obviously, like they have no way of advertising. It's all just brand awareness, but she'll take that and just revolutionize it and change the game.
For the Twitter employees, I hope that happens.
I just wonder what VCs are okay with a company being that bloated. So like what venture capitalists with Peloton like, yeah, you need like 3,700 employees. Like that's a good idea. These are supposed to be the smartest people in the world. The dudes from Stanford, Ivy League, and they're like, yeah, so we're a manufacturing company. We can do it with a fucking marketing team of 100 people, if that.
Yeah. Well, I've been lucky enough to be in the Valley my life. I know lots of these people. And first off, they're not necessarily smarter than you. I mean, I don't know any of them that have put together the Twitter and Sheryl Sandberg is a possibility. None. You're smarter. You see the board differently, so kudos. They have better connections. Their Rolodexes are fire.
Right, the Rolodexes are fire.
Fire. Just, I mean, a lot of the people I know could call Elon Musk. I'm not saying Elon Musk would pick up, but they got his number.
Yeah.
They got his number, right? And where I'm going with this is ego is it's a dangerous thing. A lot of these folks, like these people, like these private companies were getting raises on revenue, right? 100x revenue. They're losing a gob of money. A lot of them,
100x on revenue is insane.
It's stupid. That's like the All In podcast has said that was cocaine and Red Bull. It was just
stupid. Oh yeah.
And once one person did it, once Tiger did it, they did it. It's just it was a crazy time. And again, having lived in it, that's why I called this 6-9 months ago. I said this is not going to end well. I did several videos on my channel warning people to get out of these high valued stocks, Lemonade and all of these other things. I'm like, you guys don't understand these. They're not revolutionizing squat.
Yeah, it's not like a new revolutionary product that's going to change the game.
It's not a web browser.
Yeah.
It's not Netscape Navigator. It was crazy. So, sometimes people got to learn the lesson the hard way, and lots of stocks are down 80%. Some of them will survive. Some will get bought. Many will go to zero.
What business school did you go to? Because you got your
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara.
Yeah, I got my MBA while working a full-time job, so I went in the evenings.
That is awesome. The one thing I do think is really the PayPal mafia is something I'm fascinated about. That I'm like starting to like dive down.
They're really connected in the Valley for sure.
But I mean, what is it like of their of the 20 people, like 5 went off to be billionaires, and then other people went off to like really make significant companies.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know what the ratio is, but I would bet 20, probably more like 20 billionaires out of the PayPal mafia, certainly 10.
All right, so that's my next thing. I wish I would have gotten into tech so much earlier so I could talk to you about it. Like of just like the Valley stuff and venture capital, because then you're the only person I can really talk about it who's into it.
Yeah, it's an interesting vibe in the Valley. When the time is good, like we've been in, it's crazy. We're about to go through the winter. It will get pretty negative.
So what was the culture like at your company? Like was it a lot of ego in your company too? Because everybody like has an MBA or whatever and they think they're hot shit.
So I've been at several companies, so I won't just pick on the last one. Yeah, everybody's making multiple six figures. Everybody's got a new car. It's not a healthy environment, frankly. It's very much keeping up with the Joneses. That's when you look back on it. Once you pull yourself out of it, there are so many people that make 200 grand a year or more that live paycheck to paycheck. It's disgusting. It is really disgusting.
When you were talking about you had former pro athletes and it's sales, so it's just testicle, ego, testosterone.
Testosterone, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had several Major League Baseball players, a couple of pitchers, football players. Yeah, dude, it's a very testosterone environment.
So what's another tip to create an absolutely killer sales team? Like your 5 top tips. I still think that's my number one. That's between getting really, really good online marketing and then being able to develop a high level sales team. Those are the 2 next skills I need to get good at.
Wow. I'll have that ready for you next week because I want to give that real thought.
Okay.
I think there are definitely some things, but I don't want to come up with things off the top of my head. I'll have that answer for you next week.
Okay. Because I mean, how long were you leading sales teams? Was that 15 years?
20 years. 20 years.
20 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And did you sell while you were leading the team as well?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my biggest claim to fame in the Valley is I turned 3 products from 0 to 100 million. That's hard to do. I did it 3 times.
And all SaaS?
The first one, was perpetual. So installed at the client. The next 2, the second one was a split, and the third one was mainly SaaS.
And so are you selling just enterprise SaaS, like to where you're just like, hey, this is what it can do, like almost like Salesforce? Because Salesforce is an arm and a leg.
Yeah, I would say most of my stuff was enterprise class. Yeah, the first company, I think our average transaction was like 120 grand. Next one was more like 500, and the last one could easily be 7 figures.
And so what was the intrinsic value in that 7 figures? Like what was it changing for them?
Automation and access to data. We could automate stuff in seconds, maybe minutes that would take others days. We could remove headcount. That was a big deal.
Like, so just more efficiency.
Yeah. And then liability, we could prevent or uncover security. That was a big deal, right? Software security. Yeah, it's mainly all about automation. Basically, we're taking out headcount.
Wow. All right. That's all I got, Mike. Thank you so much.
Very cool.
Any other parting words?
No, if you're an investor, it's time to get ready. Don't sit on a couch and do nothing. This is the time to do the work and get ready so you don't have to get ready. Get ready now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike.
You got it.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Winning Move Podcast. I hope it helps you make all the right moves in your life and business. Please make sure to go like and subscribe on any podcast platform that you're listening to, and make sure to go follow me on Instagram @StratDaddy. Thank you.